Welcome to the segment we call It Takes an Idiom to Know One, hosted by Sarcastic Scott, Jurassic John, and Artistic Ali.
Oh, yeah.
So, John,
Yes, thank you.
today you have an idiom for us?
I do. It's resting on your laurels.
Resting on your laurels. Ali, what is a laurel?
I think it's a bush or a shrub. I mean, I'm really not sure about this one. I mean, I have heard this idiom before,
Okay,
but I've never used it. So, yeah.
Okay.
resting on your laurels. I have heard about it too, but I've never used it. So I'm really interested in hearing John's definition. And how do we use this, John?
Yes, John.
Look, recent months and the pandemic and all the ways we've had to adapt is a really good context for using it, because resting on one's laurels means you can't keep doing something the way you've always done it. You've got to find a new way. So for anybody who was maybe successful before Corona or the pandemic and didn't adapt, you may say that they tried resting on their laurels and they didn't change.
So it's about, so you have to change in order to use this idiom.
It means that you can't just keep doing the things you've always been doing the way you've been doing them. You can't rest on your laurels. You've got to innovate. You've got to try new things. You've got to learn new things.
Okay.
Stop resting on your laurels.
So
it's to motivate people.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a way to motivate, but it's also out of necessity sometimes, because you have to adapt, you have to change, and you can't rest on your laurels.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be negative. It could be positive.
Yeah. And
in a motivational
it was interesting
way.
that Ali identified a laurel as a bush or a plant, because it is. And you may visualize the ancient Greek athletes wearing this arch of leaves around their heads once they've done something. Yeah, that's actually what a laurel is. That same plant is the laurel.
So it symbolizes or represents something of greatness?
I'm not sure what the connection to the laurel plant is. I would
angelic?
Yeah, I would invite anybody out there who perhaps knows the connection, could probably write in and tell us. Maybe that'd be nice. Or
that would be nice.
I could have done some research prior, but I do know what a laurel is.
They're getting off their laurels.
Yeah, they're getting off their laurels.
They're participating.
Maybe Ali can think of a hypothesis. How could the laurel plant, as a symbol of victory or accomplishment, be connected to resting on one's laurels as the idiom?
I mean, it kind of makes sense, though. I mean, okay, if I were to hypothesize, I would say, like, imagine a farmer, and somehow he plants laurels. Let's just go with that scenario, and he just sits on it, as in he's not doing anything further. He's like, this is exact. I mean, I've achieved this, and this is pretty much what I will stick with now. And I think that's kind of the scenario that I've built in my head.
That's good.
So he doesn't prune it.
Yeah. As in, he's not...
You plant it.
He's not taking it anywhere else. He's just like, okay, I've planted like a bunch of carrots, or I've planted like, I don't know, some potatoes.
Okay.
But
you have to harvest those.
Of course. There we go.
Laurels, you don't need to do anything with.
Maybe.
Okay. I don't know.
I was just thinking, it can also be connected to the victory laurel, because once you've won something and you've gained a laurel or earned one, you can't just rest on it and say, hey, I've won something now, I won't do anything else. I have to keep training, I have to keep innovating, I have to keep practicing, keep learning. So maybe in that sense, we can't rest on the laurels that we've won. We have to keep striving and finding new laurels to win.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds a little bit better.
Yeah.
But the Farmer Ted is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, there might be another example of this, though. I just thought about it. For example, speaking of mobile phones,
Huh?
LG just declared loss and pretty much backed out of producing phones. Yeah, they had like a bunch of their own phones, and the
Why?
company kind of just stopped, as in they were making losses.
Okay.
And the reasons given online were that they were not doing anything new or innovative or
Okay.
changing anything, like the market, shaking the market. And I guess this idiom kind of applies there if you think
They
about
were
it.
resting on their laurels.
Exactly.
Perfect. Oh,
Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, they are. That's a good example. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to In Lingua Podcast, live from Dessau. We hope you stay tuned for more episodes.